Okay, so I got a pretty crazy story for you guys today. On one hand, we have the former CEO of Thunder Gaming who has an alleged history of making false promises and misleading investors. And then on the other hand, we have the small-time YouTuber who broke down those false promises and called the guy out for it. And now Thunder Gaming and our CEO are doing everything they can to shut this guy up, including filing a cease and desist letter. This is Christian Bishop, the former CEO of Thunder Gaming and one-time star of The Bachelorette.
What's up, guys?
And this is the YouTuber Technicals, who called out Bishop on his history of false promises. On December 24th, Technicals posted this 30-minute video breaking down why he thinks Bishop is a con man.
I first knew about Bishop, like I went to this event, Hyrule Saga, and he saw me and then he offered me like all his production equipment. He's like, if you want to go on stage, we got this and we got that. Later, I find out that they're having all these issues with the community, right? Like their production quality, terrible. And one of my friends, this was the tipping point. He starts reaching out to me. He's like, hey, you want to look into Thunder Gaming, man? Because they're a little bit weird.
He talks about how Christian made a bunch of money in a couple different Fortune 500 companies and then pivoted to esports and created this production company called GG Media Network. His whole plan was to create this like Hollywood level quality like esports content. That was his whole goal.
Cause it's real Hollywood movie.
And then in 2016, this company called American Leisure Holdings merged with GG Media and Christian became its CEO. When mergers typically happen, it's with one big company who can provide more opportunities and money for you to do the things that you want to do. And so in Bishop's case, this was an opportunity to grow his production company and make the videos that he set out to make. But then Technicals goes through all of the quarterly reports that AMLH actually filed, and they show that they were in a shit ton of debt and were in no position to fund this production company. He's got the financial analysis websites that were raising red flags about AMLH long before the merger actually happened. So the merger happens, but then people pretty quickly start asking questions when it becomes clear that Bishop is not making anything. Like, none of the content that he promised was actually happening. And then when people actually started raising concerns, he just deleted everything GG related from the internet.
And the reason why I'm reading transcripts off of investorhub.advfn is because Christian deleted everything. He deleted the company page, and the company Twitter no longer exists.
And there's even a bunch of tweets from some pretty pissed off investors. And so like at this point, I'm wondering why GG and AMLH merged in the first place. And when I asked Bishop about this, he says that the YouTuber Technicals didn't actually explain the full financial story.
You know, in one of the shots, he brings up financials, like of the company, particularly around the details of saying, oh, look at this business, Christian's wasted all this money, blah, blah, blah. Those financials were the financials of the business when I took it over. But you leave out the fact that if you look at the financials, there were never even any salaries taken. Like, I didn't take $1 from the business and company.
So yeah, Bishop basically says that he inherited this shitty financial situation and that he actually never made any money when he was CEO. And so from Bishop's perspective, he was presented with an opportunity to help turn around a failing business in AMLH, which if it became profitable would help expand GG Media. And guess what? It didn't pan out. It didn't work. And yeah, he made mistakes. He ignored shareholders and he deleted GG's social media presence when things started going south. But the way he talks about it, he never tried to screw anyone over.
I'm not going to make any money from this business unless I can get it on its feet. So, you know, going nearly 2 years without ever collecting a paycheck from the company, those are acts that I took. So it's to talk like this guy's malicious, he's taking advantage of people and shareholders, but then you leave out the fact that he never took a paycheck, he never took $1, he literally didn't make a single dollar from this business. He's working to try to make this thing work and build a company here without ever taking $1. That's a really big fact.
Now, I thought, hey, maybe they're having a rebrand or just some technical issues, so I went back and checked their social media presence. And yeah, everything's gone.
It's all gone!
And yeah, GG Media's Twitter and website are still gone, and Forecast, which was supposed to be the flagship Hollywood quality esports news show, hasn't tweeted out since 2017. Now, just because GG Media didn't produce any of the content that Bishop promised doesn't mean that they didn't try. In fact, they shot a whole pilot for this news show that they were looking to produce. They poured a ton of money into it. They hired a PR firm that works with Disney, and they pitched it to a lot of different big cable news channels. But similar to AMLH, it just didn't work. None of the networks that Bishop pitched the show to wanted to do it.
And that was a pilot, that was a show. And one of the, I think, challenges of that particular business was we tried to go the traditional Hollywood route. We hired, consultants from G4, the old gaming network, into people and started producing, pilots and programs. And we went out and we got repped by a PR firm that did a lot of work with Disney. And we went and fought the traditional Hollywood fight. It's like, take the pilot out there on the road, pitch it, try to get it funded. And got our butts kicked, like out in market, right? Spent the money, produced the pilot, made the show, and actually brought in the actors, the writers, and the talent, did all that work.
So then you have this YouTuber calling out what looks like, unfortunately, pretty typical esports behavior, right? Struggling businesses, a bunch of empty promises, ignoring shareholders, all of it. And here is where Thunder Gaming comes into the picture. On January 29th, 2018, AMLH and GG Media, quote, entered into a strategic alliance with Thunder Gaming based out of Long Beach, California, in order to develop, produce, and promote original programming in the gaming category, end quote. And as a part of that alliance, quote, Christian Bishop has been appointed the CEO of Thunder Gaming and will oversee its day-to-day operations. GG Media Network will move its headquarters and operate out of Thunder Studios, end quote. And so Thunder Gaming is the esports subsidiary of Thunder Studios. And Thunder Studios is this well-funded production house that made this Hollywood movie in 2017 with Charlie Sheen and Whoopi Goldberg. And so theoretically, with GG Media now working with Thunder Studios and having access to lots of money, you would think that Bishop would finally come through and make the content that he promised. And no, they didn't do that. Okay, so now Bishop is CEO of Thunder Gaming. They still haven't come through on the promise of making Hollywood quality level content, but they decided to get involved with the FGC. They signed a shit ton of Smash players, hosted a bunch of tournaments that were, well, less than perfect, and really just tried to make a name for themselves. They're your typical esports org. Insanely fast growth, they're a little rough around the edges, but they seem genuinely invested in their communities. Okay, so now the YouTuber Technicals drops this video, right? Calling out Bishop, making fun of Thunder Gaming, all on Christmas Eve. And yeah, it caught on quickly. It was all over the FGC Reddit, it blew up on Twitter, Thunder Gaming blocked Technicals, and then Roderick David, the guy who created Thunder Studios, well, he got involved. So yeah, this got dramatic quick. And remember, this is all happening over the holidays. Now, this part is insane. 2 weeks after the video was released, Thunder Gaming's social media team posted this cease and desist letter to Twitter. Now, a cease and desist letter is basically a warning, right? It's somebody saying, hey, we don't like what you're doing, and if you don't stop, we might end up taking you to court. In this case, the letter basically says that the YouTuber Technicals lies about Bishop, lies about Thunder Gaming, and to really just cut the shit. So they post this cease and desist letter to Twitter. But Technicals, the person who needs to see it, can't because they've blocked him. And then they deleted the cease and desist letter entirely. And I actually talked to our lawyer about this. He says that, like, yeah, you could email them the letter, you could even DM it to them if you wanted to, but you can't just post it to Twitter, hope that they'll see it, and then call it a day. That's not really how it works. And then on top of that, the cease and desist letter included all of Technical's personal information, including his zip code. And nobody blacked it out. So yeah, they fucking doxed him by accident.
And then someone else told me, hey, dude, they left your zip code up there too. I was like, oh, damn it. They pretty much doxed me. I was like, dude, this isn't cool. There was people like in there telling me like what one of my cross streets were and shit. And I was like, fuck. Like, and then, yeah, they were like telling me the full name of my girlfriend and all this other, like, so I had to start privating information on my Facebook because I don't use my Facebook. And I don't want my family and like loved ones to get harassed.
And then, like I said, they deleted the tweet and then posted something else about how they were revamping their social media policy. Whatever that means. Now, Bishop believes that Thunder Gaming did actually physically mail the letter to Technicals. But when I asked Technicals about if he had received anything, he said no, nothing. He hadn't received anything. And so in the midst of all this, Bishop just left Thunder Gaming. He moved on to 2 other jobs with another esports company, but was still consulting for Thunder Gaming and still partly owned the company. It's all very weird and confusing. So we have this hotshot CEO who wanted to make Hollywood quality esports content. He ended up merging with 2 different companies and got everything he needed in order to do it. And then he just didn't do it. And then this small-time YouTuber calls him out for it. The company he works for goes after the kid online, and then Bishop just leaves. And that brings us to now. Technicals posted a couple other videos making fun of Thunder Gaming. A bunch of Twitter beef broke out. Like 8 players decided to not renew their contracts with Thunder Gaming, although none of them really explicitly stated if it was because of this mess or not. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of ongoing parts with this story. So if something else pops off, I will be sure to let you know. And I was at Tim Hortons on the weekend and some fucking dude wanted 6 milk and 6 sugar and then like freaked out when it was incorrect. And I was just it was like a funny story. Like he's like, this doesn't taste what I wanted it to taste like. I asked for 6 milk and sugar in my coffee. And this fucking guy's just losing it in a Tim Hortons on a Sunday morning. And I'm behind him being like, this fucking loser. Like, come on.
That's so much sugar, man.
Yeah.
I actually worked at Tim Hortons in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And like a 4x4, like four cream, 4 sugar is more than half the cup of cream. So a 6x6 is like almost entirely milk.
Right, you're not drinking coffee at this point. You just wanted like liquid sugar. That's all you wanted.